Good evening to all of you. Started? नहीं. स्टार्ट हो गया? स्ट्रीमिंग आ रहा है? देख लेते हैं क्या दिक्कत है. हाँ. So hello friends, good evening to all of you. Welcome to JTC India Java live class. And you can fastly share this to your groups, Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups and other friends so that everyone can come fastly so that we can start the class. I am waiting for you all. Kindly come fastly. Hi Preeti. Manish Shankar, good evening. Come fastly, come fastly. Okay. So any class, any questions from the last classes? Let's start the class. Any questions from the last class? Well, any questions from last class? Any questions? Yeah. Good evening to all of you. Well, so here, yesterday we talked about the literals. We have discussed something about the literals, what exactly literals are. Those who have not gone through that, kindly go through the previous classes before coming to the classes. And in case, if any one of you are missing any classes, kindly go through the last classes and then come to these classes, because these all classes are related to each other. Fine. These all classes, whatever we are discussing here, whatever I am explaining here, all are related to each other in that, right? So if you are missing one class also, then there will be something in the next class from the previous class, right? So you should first, you should go for the last classes also in that. Okay. So let's come to the literals here. Well, I hope so there is no question. Just reply me in the chat box fastly that there is no questions. Fastly, and hit the like button fastly. आप लोगों से रोज रोज ये बोलना पड़ता है ना? तो आप लोग जल्दी से जल्दी लाइक बटन को हिट करिए, ठीक है? Hit the like button fastly. Okay. So here in this now, understand few things here in this. First, so yes, literals, when I was talking about the literals, so in that one type of literal already I have discussed. What is that one specific type of literal we have discussed? Can you tell me? Integer literal. Integer literals we have already completed, right? I hope so there is no questions in the integer literal. There is no questions in the integer literal and all other sort of things. Fine, it is. Now next one again. After this, the second one what we are going to discuss is Second one what we are going to discuss is the floating point literal. And see, let me complete 2-3 more literals theoretically, or here I am explaining the things, and then after I will be writing the programs and I will be discussing it, right? So that things we will discuss here. So here first I am talking about the floating point literal. Here is the floating point literal we are talking about. This is the floating point literal what we are having into this. Fine. In case of floating, so this floating point literal, which is there can be represented in two different forms. This floating point literal which is there can be represented in two different forms, right? It is two different forms. What is that two different forms floating point literals can be represented? The very first one and second one. The one which I am saying is the floating point representation. Floating point representation. Floating point representation. And the second one is exponential representation. What is that? First one is the floating point representation and second one is the exponential representation in this. First one is floating point representation and the second one what we are getting is the exponential representation in these cases. Fine it is. Now, let's go through the floating point representation first. So, we are again here coming to the floating point representation in this here. What is the floating point representation? How we represent the floating point literal in this one here. So, first when I am writing, in order to represent the decimal values, means after the decimal or before some decimal or some fraction values, in order to represent that, specifically we have the two data types. We have the two specific data types into that. What all these two data types we are having? The very first one and the second data type. Okay, the one what we have is the float and second one what we have is the double data type. These two are we are having is the data type. These two things what we have is the data type we are having into this floating point data type as well as the double. So, this is a primitive data type. These two are the primitive data type, you can say. We are calling it as a primitive data type. We are calling this one as this both as a primitive data type. This is the primitive data type what we have. Okay. Now, let's represent it. What we are representing in this? Let's talk about this. Whenever as such I am saying here float, whenever I am saying here is the floating data type. So, in the case of float 1, here, float I am writing f11 or f11 is equal to, I wanted to write here, suppose 11.11 I am just going to write it here. See, this is one representations we have written here. Now, at the same time, I am writing here float f12 is equal to, or let's say we write the same thing. So, 11.11 small f I am writing into this. Fine. In this one again, float of f3 is equal to 11.11 capital F I am writing into all these things here. Fine it is. So, the very first thing what we have is the float f11 is equal to 111. So, first in this remember that whenever you are writing any floating point number, whenever you are writing any kind of floating point number in that, if you are writing any kind of floating point numbers in that case, what happens here, what is going to happen here, you see, you have not written here f, Here you have not written any representation, so this is not going to be the okay. ये नहीं लिख सकते. We cannot write this one here. F11 is equal to 11.11 whenever I am writing here. So this particular one we cannot write it. Fine. I'll tell you why we cannot write it later on whenever I am writing the program into this. In the later stages, when I am writing float of F12 is equal to 11.11 whenever I have written here. 11.11 F I am writing into this. Fine. Float of F12 is equal to 11.11 F I am going to write it inside this. See here. So either you see this F whatever you have written, the F whatever you are writing here represents that it is a floating point, because if you will not write this, then by default this will be considered as a double. What it will be considered as a double? This is going to be considered as a double. This is by default, this is going to be considered as a double one. It is going to be considered as the double. Here, so you must have to write here the F. Either you can write the small f, you can write here, you can write either the small f or you can write the capital F. This is one numbers whatever we are writing inside this, something like that we are writing here. Now let's come to the double one. The same thing I am representing in the double one. You see here, just see in this I am taking all these things from very starting level, right? So that all of you should understand it properly. Those who are beginner, those who haven't studied any other programming languages, they are directly studying Java. For anyone it should not create any problem, right? किसी को भी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं हो इसमें. जिन्होंने जावा पहले से पढ़ा हुआ है, जिन्होंने जावा पहले से नहीं पढ़ा हुआ है, anything it is, you should all be comfortable with this. So from that reason we are taking it from the very basic. समझ में आ रहा है आप सबको? From very basic. एकदम मैं बिगिनिंग लेवल से लेके चल रहा हूं, जिसमें थोड़ा टाइम जरूर लगे, बट आप सबको कॉन्सेप्ट्स एकदम क्लियर होते जाए. That is the way we are using it and we are adopting into it. Now next, when again I am writing here something called as the double. Here we are writing double. So see, when I am talking about the double data type, so double of D1 is equal to 11.12 I am writing. So see, here we are not writing either F or we are not writing the any other data type. In this case, what is going to happen? In this case, what is going to happen here? See that out of float, and second one is which one now? Double. Out of these two things, either we have the float or we have the double. Whenever we are having these two things, one what we have is the float, second one what we are having is the double. The default one what we are having is the default value, what we have is the float is the double is the default one, which means that if you have written like this here, you have written something called as 1.11, so by default it will be considered as a double. This will be considered by default as a double. This is going to be considered as a by default, it is the going to be the double one into that, right? But if you are trying to assign inside the float, so you must have to write this either small f or you need to write it is the capital F into this cases. Well, now when I have written is double into this, so here again double of D2 is equal to 1.12. If you want, you can write the small d also. There is no problem into this. We can write it here. There is no question. There is no problem at all. You can write all these things in this particular way. Is it okay? Now, this is what we will be calling it as a, the first one is the floating point representation. Floating point representation. This is what we have is the floating point representation we are writing in all this. So is that clear to everyone? This is the floating point representation. This is what we have written into this. Is it okay for everyone? Clear hai kya sabko? Okay, next now in this, here again what next things I am going to do here is the exponential representation. What is the exponential representation? exponential representation, I am going to write it here. What happens in the case of exponential representation? What is things going on in the case of exponential representation here? What is that we are going to write into the exponential representation? What exactly we are writing? So see here, let's say suppose double of d1 is equal to 9. Say here, I can represent 9.9. See, E plus 9 I am writing. This is 1 I am writing here. This is the one I have written here. Double of d1 is equal to 9.9 E plus 9 I am writing here. At the same time, I can write here double of d2 is equal to 9.9 small e also we can write here. Remember this. We can write the small e also. And then what is that? We can write here the, maybe that is the minus 9 we can write it here. These both things we can write it here. There is no problem at all. In both of the cases, there is no problem in these cases. Fine? Now, what shall we do now in this? What we are going to do in this? See, either I write 9.9 e plus 9, 9.9 e, which is, we are writing that is the minus 9, something like that whenever we are writing in this. So let's understand it here something. What is that? 9.9 into 10 to the power plus 9. This is going to be represented in this form. 9.9 into 10 to the power plus 9 into this. 9.9 into 10 to the power plus 9 I am writing here. This is the 9.9 into 10 to the power plus 9 I am writing into this. At the same time now, I am writing few more things here. At the same time, I am writing few more things here. What is that now? 9.9. Here you see that. 9.9 into 10 to the power, you can say minus 9 I am going to represent here. This is the exponential representation. Just generally in these two cases here, right? So let's look one example based on these two things. What all these two things are? The number one is integer literal. And the second one is floating point literal. Let's see some example on this. Okay, we will discuss some example. So let's switch to the here now again. We will write some more things into this. Let's go for this. Here we are writing something. Let's have a look into that. We are going on the YouTube live class. This is the folder. Here is the test 2. In this we are going to write the program in this. Okay. So this is one options. This is one way where we can write in this. We can save this program. We can do the things, right? Second is, instead of writing like this, all these things in a lengthy process, do you think we should go for the J shell which is introduced from the Java 9? Reply me in the comment box. Shall we go for the J shell? See here, I am opening this command prompt. I have opened this command prompt. And whenever as I have opened this command prompt, in the particular now, here I am writing that is the J shell into this. Say I have opened this J shell into this. So okay, well I am going into the J shell in this. Now you see here I have opened this prompt. Is it visible for everyone or not? Clear hai sabko? Okay. So let's write some example on this. What examples I wanted to write here now? Let's see. See, first thing is that int of a I am writing is equal to, or else see, I have not written, I have not assigned anything into this. I have not assigned anything. So since it was the integer type of data type, it was the type of what? Integer type of data type. and then a, which is the type of variable we have declared here. So this a is printing now, what it is printing now? 0 it is printing into this. Is it okay? Now, the next to this here, well, we can write something else also. What is that something else we can write? Now see here, I am printing a is giving the 0 here, a is giving inside this. Well, now even in the case of a itself, or let's do something here. Here a1 I am writing is equal to, say here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 I am writing, 7 I am writing. Can you tell me what number it is? Yes? Can you please reply me what kind of literal it is? Whatever I have written here? Yes. What type of literal it is? Octal literal, yes. So let's run it. Now you see, we have given this particular value, and whenever I am giving this value, what exactly things are going into this? Okay, thoda clear hai? Okay. Now, so here what we have done is, now here we are displaying something else also. Then in the next case here, I am writing few more things here. What is that I am writing? Int of a2 is equal to, I am writing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 something, I am writing 8 here. What I am writing? 8. Now you see the output, see the error here. Which one you feel more easy? Either the previously formats what we were writing, or this particular format where we are getting the instant outputs, instant messages, everything. Which one you feel it is okay? Either this one or the previous one. Which one is more easy? Which one? Jeshal is more easy, right? So that we can write it. Okay, yeah, immediately we can see no need to do a number of things. Okay, well, in that. So I have written a2 is equal to something in this, and at the same time, I am writing in this here int of, let's say a3 is equal to, say here, a3 is equal to, what do I need to write here is, suppose I am writing 0, 1, 0, 1. Or let's say I am writing 0, 1, 0, 1, something like that I am writing. Can you tell me what kind of literal it is? Fastly. Can you tell me what kind of literal it is? Yes, please. What type of literal it is? Can we say this as an decimal literal? So see here, I am getting the output into this here, you see. Here, one message what we are getting into this, not binary, it is not Ekta Rajput, it is not the binary, understand it, it is not the binary one. This is whatever we have written here it is not the binary one, this is not the binary, then means understand it, yes. It is a decimal literal, it is a decimal literal. But other than the decimal literal, why it is giving error? Why it is giving integer number is too large? It is giving something called as the integer number is too large. So now understand one thing, why exactly it is giving integer number is too large into this. That whenever you have written a3 is equal to something 10, 10, 10 in this particular way you have written. So in this, what is happening in this, here you see that a3 or something like that, if I am writing anything, whatever we write here. So in these particular one, a3, whenever I am doing something or whenever I am writing something like this, so a3 is equal to this. So this binary, when it is getting converted to the decimal, the binary, this binary, whatever I have written, sorry, decimal, whatever we have written, so it is out of, sorry, the decimal, this is at, first of all, it is a decimal number, right? It is a decimal number. And since it is a decimal number, so we need this value, what value we are assigning, this must be compatible with this integer type. This value must be compatible with which one now? Integer type. If this particular value is going to be compatible with which one now? Integer one, the value, whatever we are writing, if it should be compatible to the type of integer one, if the value should be compatible with the type of integer one, and moreover it should be under the range of that. So see what I'll do here now. What I will do here is I'm writing here the above one, and inside this some value I wanted to assign. So let's say 2147483647. I'm writing this one here. This value also I'm writing inside this. When I'm writing this value, let's see, some values we are getting into this, something we are getting into this. Fine. But at the same time, if I am writing 8, if the last one I am changing to the 8, so it is giving here again integer number is a too large number. Did you got it? Integer number is the too large number we are getting again inside this. When this kind of things is coming, so you need to understand one. Okay, let's do one more thing. I am writing here the minus. I have just written here the minus. So in this now, you see what we are getting in this. What we have got it into this, you can understand this point here very clearly. Now, if in case itself, I am writing here the 9. So what it is giving again? It is giving us some different message, some different means integer number is something called as the too large and all other sort of things it is giving inside this correspondingly. Okay, well, so what do you understand here? That the particular one, whatever we are writing, it should be under the range of that particular one. It should be under the range of that particular data type, right? So integer is having the data type, and integer is having this range. This is the minimum range what we have, and the above one is the maximum range. This is what we are having it. So we can write all these things within this range itself. At the same time now, when I just want to write hexadecimal number, so 0x something I am writing, this is a hexadecimal number. No doubt you have written in the form of hexadecimal number, but the output which is coming in the form of decimal, it is coming. In the similar way, here I am writing ABC something I am writing. You see, A is equivalent to 10, B 11, and simultaneously so on in that. Fine. Next again inside this. What is the further things again we are talking about? Let's say here. So you have seen the octal, you have seen the hexadecimal, and you have seen the decimal one. All these form of things we have seen it inside this. Is it okay or not? Any questions in this? The yesterday what I have shown to you, that I have shown everything to you here is. One second. Now you see here. These all are the different forms we have previously something like that we were writing into this. Fine. Here is the collectively you are getting all this sort of things. Now, the next one again inside this is the floating point lateral. So here I am writing float. Here I am writing float. F1 is equal to 11.11 I am just writing. Here you see. If I have just written something like this, so what it is giving? It is giving some different type of error, some different type of message it is giving here inside this. Something it is coming inside this. Well, but at the same time now, when I write here the F, then there is no problem, then there is no error. It is giving clearly, it is giving here the clear message that no, now it's going to be fine. At the same time, if I write here the capital F, then there is no problem again inside this case also. We can write either the small f or the capital F, all these sort of things we can write it inside this. There is no problem at all in that. Well, okay, next one into this. I have one question from all of you. Will you answer? Please tell me. Suppose if I'll write here float float f11 I am writing. What is that I am writing? Float f11 I am writing is equal to, suppose 8.88 I am going to write, which is the f I am writing inside this. Now I am writing here something. This is the something what I have written inside this. So float f11 is equal to 8.88 f. I have written something. It is giving something here. Some message is coming into. One more thing. Float f12 is equal to 99.99 I am writing here. Here you see. f12 is equal to 9.99.99 something I am writing inside this. Is it okay? Now you tell me one thing. It is giving error. What it is giving is not compatible to this something like that it is giving here, right? But at the same time now, something I am writing like this inside this here, say here. Or well, again in the above one here itself I am writing the f. Now you see here. So my question to you is, it's a very simple question. Did you, can you tell me what I am trying to ask you? Can you tell me what I am trying to ask? Fastly guys. Yes. Can you tell me out of this what question? Did you find any difference in this? Are you getting some differences in this? Any questions are you getting here? See, the important thing is you should get some questions out of all these things here. If you are not getting question, if the faculty itself is asking questions, answering the question, everything I am only doing, then there is no use of your learning, right? So my question is, what question you are getting out of this? Very simple. What question you are getting out of this? Because if you are not getting question, it means you are not going in that direction what we are trying to learn. Not like that, Pramod, not like that. We are not talking about that. See here. The question here is, here float of f11, say here. Here was this was the small float. Float spelling is small, F-L-O-T, right? This is the small one. It is the float. Well, here if you will notice one thing, so here this is the float which is there here, available here is the capital F, it is there here. So if I'll ask you one question, that what is the difference between float and the capital float? Fine. This is what. So let's see. Here if I am writing something here, what is that I am writing? Suppose, in case if I am writing here float of f1 is equal to, suppose 9.99.9 I am writing into this here, that is the f I have written here. Is it okay? If the same thing now, float of f2 I am writing 9.99 f. So see here, it's a very huge difference you are getting, I hope. This one is the small float, correct? Here is the capital float into this. So are you not getting any difference in this two things? Yes, any difference in this? The thing is, see, this is a wrapper class. In Java, we will call it as it's a wrapper class. What it is? It's a wrapper class. Here, this one, what I have written, primitive data type. It's a primitive data type. Here, that is the primitive data type. Fine? Okay. Now one question from all of you. One question, and which is going to be a very important question. Very important question. Can you tell me the name of Very important question. Again, I am saying it is going to be a very important question. So, can you tell me how much memory allocation? What is the memory allocation? Memory allocation. Allocation. What is the memory allocation for these both? For the F1 and for the F2, what is the memory allocation? How much memory will be allocated for F1 and how much memory will be allocated for F2? Please tell me. Yes. How much memory will be allocated for F1 and how much memory will be allocated for F2? How many of you are today new? First day, how many of you are attending? Yes. Nobody is answering. You all are attending this class, right? And if you will not show any response, if you will not answer anything, so it's very difficult, right? Because you all should answer it. You all should answer it, all these things. If you are not answering it, means then what we see, everyone is saying 4 byte. Is it the 4 byte for both? For F1 also 4 byte and for F2 also 4 byte? For both of them, is it the 4 byte or something else? F1 also 4 byte and F2 also 4 byte, or for both it is different? Yes. Is it different for both or it is different? Okay. Now here you see, F1 may be the Vikas Kumar, we can write floating literal in any form of integer, literal like this. See here first, inside this first. F1 when I am saying, so for F1 for float 4 byte memory will be allocated, that is fine. 4 byte of memory is allocated, no doubt at all. We must have to write this 4 byte of memory, fine, no problem at all in this. But at the same time, this F2 is a reference variable. This is a reference variable. Remember this point. What is reference variable? We will be discussing it later. But for any type of reference variable, see here, for any type of reference variable, for any type of reference variable, for any sort of reference variable, memory allocation, memory will be allocated of 8 byte. So for F2, how much memory will be allocated? For any type of reference variable, memory will be allocated for how much? It is of the 8 byte memory will be allocated. For this one, memory which is there will be allocated, that is the 8 byte of memory will be allocated into this. 8 byte of memory which is there will be allocated for this. Are you getting my point? For any type of reference variable, memory which is there will be allocated of 8 bytes memory. Always that is the 8 byte memory will be allocated for this one. Is it okay? Now next one inside this. Here is the next one inside this. Next one again inside this. Difference, is it clear for both? Okay. Now, what next we can write here something is, here you see, if in this you are getting any question, any doubt you are getting, you can please tell me inside this here something, right? If any question you are getting inside this, you can write it something like this here, fine. Next one again, the another questions what we can write it inside this. Vikas Kumar, double of D is equal to 0x123 AB. What do you mean by asking of true or false? We are not comparing it so that this will give any result, either it is a true or it is a false, Vikas. First thing. Yeah, if you will ask the question that can we write like this? See here, the question what he is asking, very good question, what he is asking, what Vikas is asking one question. The question here is, see here, I am writing here, double of D is equal to 0x. What is asking? 0x 1 to 3 AB he is asking. See, so the question is, can we write it or not? Can you all respond to this question? Can we write this or not? Without trying it. Valid? Yes, it's valid. Very good question, Vikas. Your question is very good. It's very good question. What will happen? It's a valid question. What will happen in this case? In this case, what is going to happen? First, this is a hexadecimal number. Hexadecimal number. Hexadecimal number it is. Fine. And since it is a hexadecimal number it is. So this will get converted to the decimal first. It will get converted to the decimal. So after conversion, whatever value comes after the conversion, dot 0 will be added in the last. So that's the reason this is a valid. You can say yes, it is okay, there is no problem at all in this one. Here, see that there should not be any problem in this. We can easily write it all these things. Is it okay? Any other question to anyone? Any other question here? Any other question from anyone? No questions? Well, so I hope it is clear. Now here I will show you one more thing. Is it clear or not? Just you see here, I am just showing on the console here. See that in this. If I am writing something like this, here you see. If I am writing something in this form, you just have a look on this. Look at this now. Look at this now. What did you understand with this? I have just done the practical one itself for you. In this case, what is happening? What is happening is, if you are writing float F12 is equal to something 9.99 F you are writing, fine. Float F11 is equal to, you are writing 0x123.22. So see, if you are writing hexadecimal number, so it should not be in the decimal point representation. You cannot write it here. So see, it is giving the error here very clearly to you all. It is giving the very good clear error. Now again, if I am writing the float F11 is equal to 0x122 something, we are writing it AB I am writing. So it is getting converted to the decimal one, and after conversion, it is giving something here. When in the next case, double of F11 0x1222 AB I am writing. So here you see that it is giving something like this. So is that clear to you all? Is it clear? Any questions in this now? Any questions in this? No questions? See, first of all, because the question what you are writing is long is 8 byte and float is 4 byte, how to perform the cast long to float, first of all, right? There are some valid or invalid typecastings into that, right? There are some invalid typecastings and there are some valid castings. How it is that? Suppose you just have a look into this. Here, see, I am writing this example for you. Suppose in case if I am writing long, L1 is equal to, L11 is equal to something I have written here. See here, some value I am writing into this. Some value I have written here. Some value I have written into this. See, first, it is giving some error. So let's do one thing. Write the L into this. This is one long. Fine. This is one long you are getting into this. But at the same time, now when you are writing float of F11 is equal to L. So see here, first, in general, you are not going to get this requirement first. Here you see, you are not going to get the first this kind of requirement. But in this case, if you will understand one thing here, that is the L which is there, L11 which I am writing here, see, this is the L11 whichever I am doing it into this case. So see, it is giving this value, right? Some conversion which it is to see here, 2.6387 e to the power 9. I have just shown you the floating point representation in this case, 2.9. This kind of conversions, if it is doing automatically also, then there is no benefit for us. Because this kind of complex operations we do, while selecting the data type, you should be very careful which one you should use it and which one you should not use it, right? Which data type you are using, from which possible conversions are there, where are all these possible conversions you are doing. So accordingly you should do it inside this case. And let's say if you have done, so who will calculate this value now? Practical problem is the who is going to calculate these all things. Okay. So here is the floating point literal what we have discussed into that. Now let's come to the another thing. Here now, just say here now. Now in this one, done na? Any other question for anyone? Any other question from anyone? Okay, no issues. We will be coming to the conversion typecasting, and that time also we will be discussing a lots of other questions. Okay, the next one again inside this here is the character literal. Very, very important. Character literal. Character literal. Second one is the literal. Very important. These two are the very, very important out of the literals whatever we are having. So we will see it, we will discuss in the next class. Which is next class tomorrow. We will discuss this. If out of all that you are getting any questions, any doubts, anything you are getting, please you can write in the chat box, and anything else if you can get it here, you can please. आप लोग थोड़ा लाइक कर दो, सब्सक्राइब कर लो, है ना? काइंडली लाइक इट, सब्सक्राइब इट, शेयर इट. थोड़ा सा हम लोगों के सब्सक्राइबर्स भी तेजी से बढ़ जाएं, है ना? Please tell me. Any questions? Anything else? You are getting any kind of doubt? Any questions you can ask? See, like this itself, if you will be keep on asking the questions in this session, this is going to be a more and more interactive sessions we are going to do, right? Whenever we are doing like this, so this is the more and more interactive sessions we are going to do here into that. Fine it is now. So if any questions comes, please do let us know. Tomorrow we will be talking about what we will be talking about. That is the character literal as well as the string literal into that. So kindly like it, share it, subscribe it, and all these things whatever I am explaining in depth declaration explanations I have given in my book, that you can, the book which you can see. See here, the book which is there here, you can see that. You can, if you want to get all these things in more detailed one, so you can go through this book and we can just have the look at the things. So thank you guys, good night to all of you. Thank you for coming live, and if any question comes, do let us know. Thank you, thanks.